What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I am kicking off year-end lists here at Thralls with my list of the top 10 best EPs and splits of 2022. I always try to do a separate list for these because there's a lot of shorter offerings that come out, and I definitely want to go over them because just because they're shorter offerings doesn't mean they're not fucking great. This year alone was loaded with killer releases. Believe me, we'll get down to that when I get to my top 40. But there were also a lot of killer EPs released. And once again, there was too much good stuff to not go over that on a separate list because otherwise I'd have to make it a top 50, and that is a lot of fucking shooting. So of course we're doing this one separate, and we're gonna get right down to it. So number 10, Napalm Death. Resentment is always seismic, a final throw of throws. As much as I hate it when my favorite bands put the word final in a release and they've been around this long, I believe Napalm Death is going to be around for much longer because they seem to have hit this new sort of creative high here lately. Their last album, The Throes of Joy and the Jaws of Defeatism, was a year ender for me. It was absolutely amazing, and they seem to have found this new creative energy. There isn't anything on here I would say that is like just rehash at all. Like, they found a whole new well of just vicious music to explore with more atmosphere, more groove, even some doomy elements. They even throw on like very interesting kind of covers that are just kind of off the fucking grid, but they kind of make it their own. This EP flat out demonstrates that there is plenty of gas, or petrol, they are from the UK, in the tank for fucking Napalm Death, and this is just a blistering release. It took a little while to grow on me just because there is some material in here that is very different, but I really fucking dug this. Narcissist is just an absolutely fucking beast of a song. Man Bites Dog, Slaver through repeat performance. None of the bite has left Napalm Death over the years. In fact, I think their bite has gotten stronger over the years, which is impressive because they're elder statesmen at this point. But hands down, this was a flat out impressive EP, and yet again, Napalm Death finds its way onto a year-end list for me. So here's to hoping that there is nothing final about this album. It's just the word in the title. I want tons more Napalm Death because, again, I think they are just fucking firing on every possible fucking cylinder right now. So yeah, Napalm Death, get this shit. It's fucking amazing. At number 9, we have Malefic Throne, self-titled. This is a supergroup between Steve Tucker from Morbid Angel and Warfather, Gene Palabicki of Angel Corpse fame, also in Perdition Temple, and when I saw the lineup on this, I was like, this can't really lose. And then I heard the first track, I believe it was Deciding the Hierarchy, and it was like, no, this is flat out incredible. You get all the wild riff work that Gene Palabicki is known for in Perdition Temple and Angel Corpse. John's drum work is absolutely insane, and Steve Tucker's vocals are absolutely incredible on here. He has gotten a lot better with the years, and his low, just powerful roar is just insanely good on here. While this is a very short EP, I believe with the cover on here of Nuclear Winter, which they fucking kill it, it is absolutely chock full of everything I love about death metal with a little bit of a black metal tinge to it. This EP fucking just flies by, but you can go right back to it and get the same initial adrenaline surge from the start again. That's sort of the benefit of like a short release like this. Like, you can go right fucking back on the ride, the line's short, and just get fucking throttled again. Now, while I know all these guys are very busy with their own projects, I really hope this is a teaser for things to come because this is very tight, fucking technical but brutal death metal with, again, a nice blackened tinge to it, and this just flat out rips, start to finish. If you have not checked this out, if it flew on your radar for whatever reason, check it out. It's a super group that actually manages to be super, and believe it or not, that's kind of rare. So here's hoping for a full length in the future, and yeah, number 9 right here, badass album. At number 8, we have our first split, and it is Bedsore and Mortal Incarnation. I became a big fan of Bedsore with their last release. This Italian band does atmospheric death metal so fucking well. It feels cold and isolated. The songs are almost progressive in their songwriting with the movements and big swells of heavy riffs and just really creepy, dissonant atmosphere everywhere. And the fact that this is only 2 tracks and both of them are well over the 10-minute mark and they stay interesting, I think is a testament to the songwriting on here. Mortal Incarnation's song on here is definitely the heavier of the two. Lots of incantation worship on there, but again, peppered in with atmosphere. You get those sort of chimey, clean guitars that you would hear on, you know, like Dream Unending, but mixed in with just absolutely brutal, bludgeoning riff work. With this split, I think both of these bands should be on a lot of people's radars in terms of, like, you know, future bands to watch out for. Bedsore already has a full length out. Hopefully Mortal Incarnation is working on one. I had their demo from a couple of years ago and I was really impressed with that. This is a split you can get absolutely lost in and fucking headbang your ass off to, and I love that. Absolutely amazing stuff. Check out work from both bands, but definitely check this split out. At number 7, we're having ourselves a four-way. This is a four-way split between Perilaxe, Occlusion, Fumes, Celestial Sanctuary, and Thorn, called Absolute Convergence. And this is absolutely fucking crushing. All four of these bands deliver a single track that is absolutely amazing in its own way and kind of embodies different avenues of death metal. Perilaxe Occlusion has quickly become one of my favorite underground death metal bands, and unfortunately they did announce they are breaking up. They will have one more release, which I believe is a compilation of all of their works, and I definitely plan on picking that up, but the song Serrated Tessellation on here is absolutely crushing, showcasing a little bit more speed from them. They're usually more like death doomy, but I absolutely love this band. Their theme of evil graphic design or whatever it is just fucking ridiculous. Fumes' Monolith is absolutely crushing. It's just brooding, ugly, old school death metal. Celestial Sanctuary song, though, was kind of the big winner for me on here because they kind of changed around their sound. Their debut was definitely more like along the lines of Incantation, but this one kind of sounds more like spiritual healing era death. Squeeze in a little bit more technical play, a little bit more melody. The vocals have slightly changed a bit. I am very excited for future releases from them, and Thorn just throws out some just primal, straightforward, ugly death doom, and it's absolutely fucking amazing. And I still don't know if I know how to say that word. Pythonism? I don't know, whatever. Anyway, this is a killer four-way split. Every band throws out a banger of a fucking song. That is pretty much all I could ask of a four-way, at least in terms of music. I could probably ask for a lot of other things in the way of a four-way in other things. But the likelihood of me getting more four-ways in metal is probably way more likely than any other kind of four-way in my life. But yeah, if you have not checked this out, it's absolutely amazing. Number 7 on my list, check it out. At number 6, we have yet another split between Anatomia and Undergang. I have quickly become a giant fan of Anatomia. That has become one of my favorite exports from Japan here lately. This is just flat out primal death doom. So much atmosphere, so much thickness to the bass and the guitars. The songs are just gigantic and heavy, especially the opening track, Total Darkness, clocking in at nearly 12 minutes of just crushing death doom. But honestly, even if I didn't know Anatomia was absolutely awesome, I would have got it for Undergang because Undergang or Undergang, however you want to say it, they are fucking awesome. The deep bullfrog gurgles in terms of the vocals, the sludgy guitars, their nasty fucking riffs. Absolutely amazing songs that there is no way in hell I can really pronounce because everything is in Danish? Swedish? I don't know. It all looks like word jumbles to me, but I know the music is absolutely killer. Undergang pretty much only puts out killer music as far as I've heard. But yeah, this split was absolutely filthy. Two very disgusting bands from two very different parts of the world with Japan and Denmark, or is it the Netherlands? I think it's Denmark. Either way, two very distinctly different parts of the world, but they found the most vile and disgusting death metal they could and put it on this split, and it is absolutely fucking awesome. If you're a fan of either one of these bands, I'm pretty sure you already own this because I imagine you were just as excited as I was when they announced it was coming out. But if you've never heard of either one of these bands and you just like disgusting, slimy death metal or death doom that sort of just drips with filth, then it's this split. You need to get it. It's absolutely filthy. Check it out. At number 5, we have Baest Justitia. I think that's how you say that. I don't know how to say either one of these words properly. But I love this band, and pretty much, I'd say almost ever since I've been doing top 10 lists or top 40 lists or top however many lists, Baest has been always involved. Every time they release an album, they end up in a list of some sort because these guys just know how to write killer songs. What started out as straightforward bloodbath worship has actually expanded into more melodic territory, more groovy territory, but they have retained that nasty, biting, bloodbath, entombed sort of sound. You still have your HM2 guitars, but there's definitely more songwriting and dynamics in here. I would say this is definitely a continuation from their last album, Necrosapiens, just in terms of the more groove-laden, more dynamic direction they're going in with more lavish songs. Ecclesia might be one of the best songs they've written just in terms of dynamics. It's a nice slow build, and when it gets down to that end, it's very intense, but that last riff that they play on that song is so goddamn good. And this does feature one of the last vocal performances from Trevor Strnad. Rest in peace, we still miss the living shit out of you, but man, he turned in an absolutely amazing vocal performance with their vocalist, who has some of the best sounding, like Michael Ockerfeldt sounding vocals out there. And this even throws in some solid extras, like a really awesome cover of Entombed AD's Second to None. I absolutely fucking love the riff that carries that. And an instrumental version of Genesis off of Necrosapien. This is just a flat out killer EP. It doesn't necessarily feel like extras, even though the last two kinda do, but they're good extras. The rest of it feels like its own thing and a natural progression of their sound. I am very excited to hear what they do on their next full length, because this band seems to grow with each release, and so far, each album has been absolutely fucking awesome. So pretty much this band is batting 1,000. I love everything that they've released so far. If you have not checked out this EP, it is fucking awesome, and just go check out all of Baest's stuff, or Baest. I don't know how to say the band's name right. I constantly fuck it up. Anyway, I love this EP, love this band. Definitely check this one out. At number 4, we have yet another split between Terminal Nation and Cruelty, called The Ruination of Imperialism. And this one kind of came out of left field for me. I just kind of saw it, I was like, wait, is that new? Because Terminal Nation is a relatively new band from, I believe, Little Rock, Arkansas. They're very much a death metal hardcore hybrid with elements of death doom in there and even some industrial leanings. And holy shit, they've released possibly 3 of the heaviest songs they've done yet, and pretty much everything on their debut full length was fucking crushing too, so that is saying something. These songs just beat you over the head with some of the heaviest fucking breakdowns I've heard this year. I really like the addition of like extra atmosphere in here. The opening track, Curators of Brutality, has a breakdown, or at least a transition to a breakdown that is more reminiscent of Godflesh than anything else, but then it just goes right into these pummeling, chuggy riffs, and that is pretty much where this band lurks. Groove, chug, and just pure brutality. But Cruelty was the real surprise. I'd never heard of this band. This is Cruelty with a K, by the way. And this is yet another band from Japan. Japan is having a fucking field day on this list. And that's probably because they have so many fucking killer bands here lately, because Cruelty is absolutely amazing. Both of their songs, Suppression and Under Your Pressure, are flat out killer. Groove-laden, very hooky, very riffy. It's that perfect mix of hardcore and death metal again, except, I don't know, there's something about it that is so energetic. They're not afraid to get a little bit more up-tempo, but when they hit a breakdown, or what I would even call a fucking slam on here, it is earth-shattering. I know they have one full length. I gotta fucking find it eventually. Like, I just kind of forgot about ordering it. I'm gonna fucking hunt it down. Because I loved both these songs. This band just has such a vicious fucking sound. Absolutely crushing split. One of the heaviest fucking splits I think I've heard all year. Like, this doesn't dick around too much with atmosphere or melody or clean playing. Like, this just goes for the throat with every single fucking second on here. So naturally, I fucking loved it. If you love brutality with fucking groove and hooks, this is fucking it. So yeah, definitely check this one out. At number 3, we have Jesus Wept, Psychedelic Degeneracy. This, again, kind of came out of nowhere for me. I actually have a compilation of some of their earlier stuff. Really liked it. Very, again, groove-laden, hardcore meets death metal. Like, there's like a little bit of like thrash to it. But when I got this, the first thing I noticed was the cover. I was like, all right, are we gonna go like full-bore carcass worship? And they kind of did, but they kind of didn't. This takes that carcass worship model, which there are tons of bands out there that do it, but they infuse hardcore with it and do a more groovy style. So this is essentially like a hardcore death metal hybrid that really leans more on, I would say, like necroticism more than anything else. The drums are a little bit more groovy, but they break into those Ken Owen style gallops. The vocals alternate between highs and lows, and that scream is kind of close to Jeff Walker in spots, and those lows are kind of fucking close to Bill Steers. But it's the riff work that really mixes it up. You get those hardcore sort of breakdowns and grooves, but they infuse a lot of like Bill Steers sort of melodies in there and bring in some thrasher influences, and the mix of all these elements comes out fucking beautifully on here. The opening track, Surgical Punishment Symmetry, even opens up with like a pathologist report sample going through a fucking corpse, like, well, this guy died horribly. I mean, this dude said it like he went to school for it. I didn't, so, you know, props to him. But when the music kicks in, it is just immediate fucking hooks. We actually had the pleasure of seeing these guys in Indianapolis at Heavy Hell, and they flat out fucking ruled. I even bought a shirt. Pretty sure I've worn it in at least a couple of reviews. But yeah, this EP has made me a giant fan of this band, and it's really cool that these guys are just from up north. They are from Michigan. If for any reason you slept on this one, much like I'm going to say for all of these, oh my god, check it out. This is sort of a unique take on carcass worship, and I like it because it kind of keeps the idea fresh. And carcass worship is something I want to keep around forever because I love carcass, and I love hearing other bands that love carcass do that sort of sound and sort of infuse, like, again, a little bit of themselves in that. And this band has done it absolutely fucking beautifully. Definitely check this out. Absolute banger of a fucking EP. At number 2, we have Worm, Bluenothing. This should probably come as no surprise to anyone that watched my review or anyone that's ever heard me talk about Worm. I fucking love this EP, and the fact that this was essentially just stuff that didn't make for Everglade, and it's just as brilliant, is just a testament to this band's songwriting ability. This band's ability to do like almost like kind of gothic, dreary death doom, but mix that with virtuoso guitar, like neoclassical leads, and make it work because those seem like two very different schools of thought, is just a testament to their songwriting ability. The atmosphere on here is absolutely amazing. It feels like you're in a dreary cemetery at night and there's like a fucking fog rolling through, and well, it's in Florida, so you're probably gonna get mauled by a zombie alligator. It's Florida. I'm pretty sure that fucking happens on a regular basis. But Jesus, man, this album is just so good. Like, this is the appropriate metal soundtrack for Halloween, which, man, I miss Halloween already. Like, I really wish it was back to Halloween, but then I'd have to, like, go back to fucking Christmas again because I'm just not a Christmas person. But no, this is fucking awesome. I love the fact that you can get so lost in this album with all its lush atmosphere, but when the heavy sections come, oh my god, they just fucking crush you. Shadowside Kingdom, the last track, there is a section at the end that is just unbelievably heavy and really kind of just goes straight for the black metal side of their style. But Centuries of Ooze too, which generally when I see 2 at the end of something, it's like, all right, well, we got a sequel, and sequelitis is a very real thing. Nah, Centuries of Ooze 2 is, I would say, about as good as the original at least, but it's the title track. The title track, the opening track, is such a fucking glorious track. This whole thing is fucking awesome. I was excited when I heard this was coming out, and initially I was like, all right, well, this is just leftover stuff. I wonder how good it is. And within one track, I was like, what the fuck was I worried about? This is gonna be fucking good. And I was right. Or at least in my opinion, I was. I don't know. There might be people out there that didn't like this, but pretty much anyone that I heard talk about this was pretty much gushing. So yeah, my number 2 EP of 2022. This is an absolutely glorious album. I can't wait for new shit from Worm already. I hope it is as slimy and evil and gothic as possible, but for right now, this will definitely tide me over. And my number 1 EP of 2022 was Ritual Necromancy and Fozzilization. Their self-titled split or no titled split, whatever. This is some of the best death metal I listened to, at least in short form this year. Ritual Necromancy only had 1 song on here, but it's 15 minutes of some of the best death metal I've heard. In terms of a longer song, this is easily the most dynamic thing they've ever done, and I would say in terms of their overall sound, this is the tightest they have ever sounded. It weaves its way between death doom and morbid angel worship, deep cavernous vocals, giant guitars. This song is absolutely fucking crushing, but Fozzilization match it up with 2 songs that are a definite improvement on their already awesome debut EP. The riff work is definitely more mixed up. It doesn't lay on just tremolos the entire time, which was a mild complaint I had about their debut EP. This one has better production, the guitars sound even more crushing on here, and dynamics. I would say hands down, this is the best material I have heard from each one of these bands, and that definitely made it my number one. I revisited this one a lot, especially towards the end of the year too, just because I wanted to make sure in terms of like which were my top ones this year. Like, yeah, this one, there is nothing on here that isn't fucking great, at least in my opinion. So if you skipped over this one for any reason, or didn't see the review where John and I absolutely fucking gushed about this, this is absolutely fantastic. My number one EP/split of 2022. Definitely check it out. All right, that does it, and this kicks off the year-end list. I'm gonna get to work on doing my top 40. Again, breaking that down into 3 different videos, leaving the top 10 for its own. Again, this was another good year, and I think it was possibly better than last year, especially the tail end of this year had some really solid releases. Honestly, it pains me with some of the ones that I had to leave off. I could have made a top 50 easily, but 40 is what I stuck with. 40 is what I'm gonna keep sticking with. I think it's a solid number, and well, I still got to include a lot of cool shit. So again, stay tuned for all that. It is definitely coming soon. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. We have t-shirts to sell there, but we do need to restock on some sizes. But our Patreon link is there, and we still have a poll going on for, I believe, Shredlord's picks for our next batch of rankings after we do Crowbar. So if you have not voted on that one, definitely get on there and vote if you're one of our patrons. And if you'd like to be one of our patrons, again, check out that link. And of course, Denver Death Fest will be taking place April 20th through April 22nd in Denver, Colorado, because I don't think there's any other Denvers. I haven't really checked though, so I could be wrong. We will be making a full announcement as to the lineup, I believe around the new year. I believe it'll be the complete lineup, or at least most of it, but we might still have some room to add some bands, so we will update you as that happens. Again, I don't know who's all on it, so it'll be a surprise for me too, but we will have a video announcing that for damn sure in the future. And of course, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, following, all that shit. We almost got another year in the books here, and it is absolutely remarkable to see this channel grow the way it has. It's, again, well beyond any expectations I ever had for this, but it's awesome. Like, there's like a legit fucking community here, and y'all are fucking amazing. We love doing this shit. We love the responses we get. All of it has been so much goddamn fun, and you guys are almost entirely responsible for it. So take a bow, pat yourself on the back, maybe do some push-ups. I don't know, whatever you do to celebrate, you should, because you've definitely helped us out so goddamn much. So with that, I will send you one more giant fucking thank you, and we will catch you later.